Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, welcome. I mentioned this in my Ulta haul and also my eyeshadow declutter. The fact that there were some eyeshadow palettes that I was keeping where I was more inspired by the color story than I was about the actual formula. And I wanted to declutter them, but not until I was able to sort of go into my singles collection and dupe the palette. And if I was able to successfully do it, I would declutter that palette. So I actually did tackle one palette, and it was the first palette I really identified. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Rebel palette, which for some reason is a pain in the neck to open. It is actually the original color story of it. I know she reformulated it and she made these colors much more kind of an army green colorway. I wanted to go ahead and dupe this. I was never really smitten with the formula at the price tag for these palettes. Every time I approach it, I'm just disappointed. So I wanted to create something that was going to make me really happy. So I shopped my stash, which I know seems to have a lot more colors in it, but I like that. I wanted to be able to create a palette that I could use and have more fun with and more looks with than this one. So let me swatch the Rebel really quickly. You have this beautiful highlight shade. This is one of the better performing shades, I think, in the palette. It's this really pretty champagne, but it has a little bit of a peach flip to it, which I like. And the shade that I'm using, this one's a little tough because I actually don't know exactly what palette it's from. This is from a Depotted ColourPop palette. Maybe it's from the Depotted Dream Street. There were a few shades that I ran into that were a lot like it, but that's this one here from ColourPop. And you see it also has that same type of like peachiness, peach quality to it. Next I'll do the shimmer topper shade in the Charlotte Tilbury palette. So that's the Charlotte Tilbury one. And that's like with many swipes. You see, you can't really build it up. So to match that color, this is where I had to do a little combination. I used the color Unexpected from Colored Rain. And that's this color here, which is a very bright emerald. You go in with a light hand though. I just want to show you what happens. But that's it there. And I know it's not looking like a dupe yet. But then I combined it with Recruit from Sydney Grace, which is a kind of also like a black and gold. And together, when you layer them and blend them, you get very much the same color, and you can just kind of make it a little more green by going into the more green color. Apologies for my nail, I peeled it off for the color, but so you see it's very, very similar, and on the eye you really can't tell the difference. Now to look at the other shades in the palette. So this is this green here, which is really beautiful. Pretty dead on dupe with Sydney Grace's Levy. Maybe Levy is just a little more grassy green, but really it's negligible. And again, this has a little maybe more gold flecks, but super easy to just take that same Recruit color and dust it over this one, and you see it already changed it. So again, the formulas of my single shadows just perform better. They just have more options, and that's what I'm looking for. This palette will be so much more useful to me than this one. I can achieve numerous looks with this palette, and I can achieve one, maybe two looks with this one. The last color in the Charlotte Tilbury quad is the deepest color. So that's that one there. And for this one, I also have to kind of create a little bit of Frankenstein color. Sydney Grace's Evergreen, I use that as a base. And I know you're saying, it's not the shade. Don't worry, I know it's not the shade. The next shade I layer above it is by Anastasia, and it is in Prussian blue. So this is where that blue comes in. This was certainly a harder shade to find because it is a blued green color. And it does feel much more unique. But once I really learned to layer these up, I got an even better shade, I think. These are the Charlotte Tilbury shades, and these are my dupes. So I wanted to do a quick eye look so you could see what it looks like on using all 4 shades of Charlotte Tilbury and my sort of makeshift palette. And I hope this inspires you. I hope that you maybe take it upon yourself. If there's a palette that maybe you're only keeping it for 1 shade or 2 shades, find singles, you know, that work for you. Create your own palette. It's a lot of fun. I like to know that my makeup is special. Like, I don't always like to go with the flow. I like to be a little different. So I like doing things like this. It makes me very happy. So I'm gonna go in on this side, and I have my color switch right here. I'm gonna be using the same brushes because it's a little pointless to kind of go back and forth. I'm gonna go in with that lighter green here to put that in my crease. I was so excited to get this palette. This was, I think, my first Charlotte Tilbury anything, and I had wanted it for so long. This was something I coveted for such a long time, and when I got it, oh boy, was I so disappointed. And I thought it was me. I thought there was something wrong with me. There was something wrong with how I apply things, you know, that it was my fault. And it's not true. You know, it's really, brands just, they need to do better, especially high-end brands, I think. If you're paying this much for a palette, or for like Tom Ford palette, it should overperform. At the price point, it should overperform. Back into the Charlotte Tilbury, see what I can do here. You'll see the fallout is significant with the Charlotte Tilbury side. I'm gonna go in with that highlight shade from Charlotte Tilbury. I'm just gonna put this on my brow bone now to help me blend out that edge. And then also in my inner corner. And this is a real pretty shade. I like this shade, but I don't think it's special. I feel like I found 5 different shades just in ColourPop, and I'm doing the ColourPop shade, where it was very similar. And again, it's much more brightening. And it creates the same type of like glassy effect. I am going to use that dark kind of evergreen, but with that blue in it on the Charlotte Tilbury side. And I'm just gonna pack that in a little. And I hope you could see there's certainly a bluishness about it. And again, look at all that fallout. So that's that shade there. You can get it to be a very pretty look. I'm gonna go in with the Sydney Grace Evergreen, which is a highly pigmented shade. And I'm gonna use that first on my lid. So I'm just making it much greener. And then I'm gonna go into that Prussian blue by Anastasia. And I mention these colors because I feel like you can easily go to Temptalia and look up the colors and see if maybe there's an equivalent in your collection already that you could play around with. And that's what I do. When I see people do palettes, I'm always like going to her website to look it up. But you see, mixing that blue and that green give basically the same effect. Now I'm going to take that shimmer shade, which is that kind of blackened gold with sparkles in it. And I am going to try to pack that on top. So I'm going to try with my finger. It just doesn't create the effect. Pick up some more and I'm going to spray it with Fix Plus. And even after doing that, the effect is very, very subtle. Again, I think it's a very sophisticated eye, so, you know, definitely tailoring to, I think, the market for Charlotte Tilbury, but even a sophisticated audience should demand better quality. For this side, how did I get this color? Recruit from Sydney Grace and Unexpected from Color Green. And I hope you can see that. It's so much more metallic and highlighted even further. Now, where I will say there is a difference is the Charlotte Tilbury side the shade has literal glitters in it. Tiny, tiny, tiny little specks of glitter. Whereas the Colored Rain Sydney Grace combo is a metallic. So it's much more of a sheen. I actually prefer the sheen over the glitter, but if you wanted glitter, you could easily use a topper shade that you have. There's lots of glittery toppers, but when I initially put this on, which I will insert a photo right here, when I initially tried to kind of find this combination, I did put on a Stila Glitter and Glow on top of it to match it even better. But I mean, to me, this is pretty much it. I mean, in doing this, I just realized I really don't need this. So I will be decluttering this for sure. I will be having fun using kind of my little Frankenstein palette. Maybe for the next week, I'll concentrate on these shades and see what I can do with it. And I just want to show you, again, how much fallout there is on this side versus this side. I have a tiny bit of fallout, but nothing major. So, you know, that's also part of it. Why, you know, why do we have fallout? Look, I can't even clean it off properly. It's because it's so pigmented. I'm gonna have to go in with micellar water and maybe just a little bit here. I'll have a green highlight for the night. So anywho, I hope that was helpful. I hope that was, I don't know, inspirational for you to look at your stuff and maybe play around with your makeup. My goal, as I mentioned in my eyeshadow declutter, is to use my palettes, at least one palette a week. And if I don't want to use that one palette, like I didn't want to with Charlotte Tilbury's Rebel Quad, I then challenge myself to find dupes within my collection and then use that dupe palette for a week. So the goal is really to learn to appreciate what I have, maybe curb my spending, curb my need to buy something new. I really like doing this, and I love these color greens too. I just think they're very, very flattering on lots of different eye colors and skin tones. I hope it inspires you to wear greens. If you have some greens in your collection that you feel would have probably kind of hit the nail on the head, instead of with my two shades, you found one that hits the nail with one, let me know. I'm always, you know, picking up single shadows here and there, so maybe you'll inspire me to pick one up. Hope everyone has a great evening, the rest of the weekend, and we'll speak soon. Take care. Bye.